And
I'm Darlene Byrne. I'm the Chief Justice of the Third Court of Appeals.
all right.
Hi, I'm Maggie Moreno. I'm Justice of the Peace for Precinct 1, Police 2.
Okay, thank you all. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the left side. Start again, please.
Am I blocking? No, you're good. Okay.
Elaine Cardenas, Hayes County Clerk.
Amanda spoke, yes?
Daphne Tenorio, Hayes County Treasurer.
Elaine Brown, I'm the Judge of County Court of Law number 3.
District Judge 483rd District Court. Jennifer Escobar, Tax Assessor.
All right, have we missed anybody? Everybody's had a chance to say hello. Thank you very much for coming out tonight. I appreciate it all. Now, one of the ground rules, how we got started tonight, well, I'll tell you what. First, I'm going to turn it over to Tyler Key, who is our newly elected chair of KBAD, and he's going to give you a welcome address.
Thank you all. I have to say first, thank you very much to Buda United Methodist Church for allowing us to have this event here. It's so important that they do that, and we should appreciate that. Thank you very much for those elected candidates who are here, who served. Thank you to the candidates who are running. I'm very proud to be the son of District Judge Alicia Key, and I know firsthand that helping her was the hardest thing that I've ever done, and I wasn't even the candidate. So thank you, candidates, for running, and thank you guys for being here, all of you in the audience. There are a few moments in your life that you have an opportunity to be great. There are a few select moments where you can choose to get up and make something of yourself, to make a difference, to make a big change. And I want you to focus in this moment, and I want you to try to remember this moment, because I think years from now, you're going to look back and you're going to say, this was one of those. This is one of those chances. And that sounds, I recognize, kind of like hyperbole, because, we're here for a forum for one of the 254 counties in this state for their county races. But I'd ask you to step back and realize that it's way bigger than that. And I say that because Hayes County in this last election cycle was the only suburban county that stayed blue in the state. We're the only suburban county that stayed blue in this state because of people like us in this room. And so you have to know at this point, we are drawing a lot of attention. We are the focus in a big way, statewide and nationwide. There are strategists who are looking at us and trying to figure it out. And what I want you to remember with that is, with that focus comes, frankly, money, a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money is out there to be taken for us, by us, for the citizens of Hayes County. But the reality is this, we accomplished that, but in our primary, we were outvoted by 4,000 votes by the Republicans in this county. So we're not in a position of, yes, we have it, they're going to give it to us. We're in a position of a giant question mark is next to us. And that, to me, is an opportunity. That, to me, is a chance in this primary election coming up to show that we can dominate the vote counts, that we can get up a lot of Democrats, that we can show that we are a well-oiled machine. And by being that well-oiled machine, we can be the first domino that tips, that turns Texas blue. Hayes County can do that. And it's going to take us. And the reality is, we in this room can be the tip of the spear. So I'll tell you a little secret that I haven't told any candidate that's running yet. Mom, I'm very proud of her. She ran a great and a clean primary. And she won a hell of a victory, beat a runoff in a three-way race. And part of it was this. He knocked on thousands of doors, thousands and thousands of doors. But in that, we, at the end of it, at least for me, and I know Mom did the same thing, at the end of the time that person came to the door, I said to them, I'm not asking you to vote for my mom, but I'm just asking, promise me that you will go vote. Promise me that you'll go vote in the primary that's coming up. And I tell you, that's effective. So what I say is this today, to you people here. Don't enjoy this opportunity as just an opportunity to figure out who you want to vote for. See this today as an opportunity as who you want to help. Who will you call for? Who will you knock on doors for? Who will you help ask the question, will you promise to go vote on March 3rd? You can do that, and we can do that. Together, we can be the tip of the spear that starts the dominoes falling. Don't fail to seize the moment that we have. We have 40 days to the primary. What I'm asking you is this. Find somebody, help somebody. Remember these important dates. Registration ends February 2nd. Early voting is February 17th, February 2, February 27th. The primary is March 3rd. Guys, I mean, this is a battle of good versus evil at this point. If it ever in your lives you wanted to make a difference, you have 40 days to do it. And the way you do it is you make people promise to go vote. You make people show up for that Democratic primary, or your candidate, or another candidate, go vote. We need those numbers. We need that participation. And with that, we can be the start. So thank you all candidates for being here. Thank you all in attendance. Thank you all for participating, and I will yield the floor. But finally, thank you very much to my wonderful board, Jeff Kaufman, my vice president, all the rest of them for leading today, and God bless America.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that, Tom. So I don't have to introduce myself now. But I will say there are at least one candidate who is running statewide who is not going to be speaking tonight, who is in a contested primary. And is he still out here? And we're going to give him a couple of seconds to say hello.
We said 30. Buenas noches. I'm Councilman Benjamin Flores. I'm running to be your next Texas Land Commissioner. Quickly, we need to diversify the permanent school fund revenue. Make sure we maximize the money that goes in there to help our schools. Also, I will lead the next energy expansion in the state. I will honor the promises to our veterans that right now the Republicans are all talk, no action. And lastly, you guys get flooding, I and the coast get hurricanes and all kinds of disasters. I will make sure those that need help the most first will get it. Now, following along real quickly, you all see the news every single day. I don't have to tell you, I don't have to itemize it. We need to meet the moment. We need to really be active. This is gonna be a long race, very strong, we need to finish strong. Thank you, muchas gracias.
Okay, so a process note. How did we invite the candidates here tonight? So KBAD invited all the candidates who are running in contested primaries in Hays County to complete our questionnaire. They did the online questionnaire, most of them, and their answers are posted on our Facebook page and our website. You can find them for further information on all their views that you might not otherwise have a chance to find out, and also links to all their campaign information. We invited all those who completed the questionnaire to join us here tonight. All but one of the candidates did and are here. Sitting County Court at Law County Court at Law number 2, Judge Chris Johnson did not return the questionnaire and is not participating in this forum process. He won his seat running as a Republican and is now running as a Democrat. He has a long history of supporting Republican issues and candidates and no history of ever voting in a Democratic primary. And since he did not fill out he didn't meet the criteria, it's not because of that, it's because he didn't fill out the questionnaire. And so he's not here. So some ground rules, we've got a lot to cover tonight, so it's going to be on a strict timeline here. I'm going to be calling up candidates by group, by office, I will say. And they will all come up and sit in these chairs as they can. And we'll be calling on them somewhat randomly. I'll be going back and forth so we don't get into too much of a pattern. And they're going to each start with a 2-minute opening statement. Then we will have 90 seconds for each of 3 questions for them to answer. And we also have questions that we've asked for the audience to submit, and if we get a 4th question from the audience on the candidate, we'll read the 4th question, and all the candidates will have a chance to answer that same question. If not, I've got some in my back pocket that I prepared as the 4th question for those candidates. So, and they'll have 90 seconds for each answer. So I'm going to call up the groups in this order, so be prepared when you see the group who's ahead of you so that you're coming up and being ready next. The first group is going to be the county clerk candidates, so they can start coming up right now if they will. And then second will be the Hays County Court of Law number 2. Third will be District Judge number 428. And the next one will be District Attorneys candidates. The next will be the County Commissioners for Precincts 2 and 4 candidates. And we're going to round it up at the end with the County Judge candidates. So we're going to start with opening statements. You've got the microphone, so let me just make sure you got it turned on.
Hey, Jack.
And test.
Hey, Jack.
You're free to stand and walk. You're free. Yes.
You mind if I make a very short announcement very quickly?
Our AV guy needs to make an announcement quickly.
We are streaming live on Facebook on our public-facing Facebook profile. So if you know anybody who couldn't make it, find our profile on Facebook, send it to them. I also shared it in the KBAD group. So if you have a campaign page or something, feel free to share it there as well.
And we're also recording the proceedings tonight, correct?
Yes.
So these will be available in the future for your use as a candidate. So we're going to start with 2-minute opening statements. You're free to stand or sit, however you want to do it, and then pass the microphone when you see. We're going to be timing, and Cherie here has a loud noisemaker, and she's also got a yellow signal for 30 seconds remaining, and when it hits red, your time is up. You can finish your thought, but you can't start a new paragraph. Okay? If the shoe fits, you know. So we're going to start with Cynthia Melanzi, and go ahead and make your opening statement, please.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming out tonight to hear what we have to say and hopefully to earn your vote. My name is Cynthia Melanzi. I'm running to be your next Hays County Clerk. I'm running on experience, leadership, and the fact that I currently run the day-to-day operations in the county clerk's office. A little bit about me. Well, I just told you, I'm the assistant county clerk. I've been the assistant county clerk for the last 4 years. Dr. Cardenas brought me into the office when she recognized that bringing leadership from the outside with different real world experience could make a difference for Hays County. And my background is I spent 30 years in the U.S. Army. I started off a private, and I went to officer candidate school, became an Army officer, and I finished my career 30 years later as a full bird colonel, as the director of support operations for Texas Military Forces. And what that entailed was running emergency operations for the state of Texas. I was responsible for people, equipment, and money. And over my career, I've managed multi-million-dollar budgets. I've been the HR director. I've run operations in Iraq. And I love running the current operations in the county clerk's office. So I'd like to continue the good work that we're doing. You'll hear more about it when we start to answer our questions, and I will yield the floor.
I am Dee Dee Rogers, and I have lived in Hays County for 39 years. I've lived in Texas all my life. I am a single mom the son, and I'm fixing to have a granddaughter, so I'm excited about that. I was a paralegal for 5 years, and I've worked at the county clerk's office for 30 years. For 25 of those years, I was a senior deputy clerk and managed or supervised several employees. And then I was promoted to chief deputy and was there at that position until I retired for 2.5 years. I want my commitment to be is to protect the integrity of our records, ensure public service, and treat every citizen with respect and regardless of any party they're in. I just want to make sure customer service is the main object of my run. Thank you.
Just need to reset the timer.
I see that she's texting her mom.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Nicholas Nico Costia, and I'm running to be your next Hays County Clerk. A little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Hays County. I graduated from Texas State in 2012 with a degree in criminal justice and a minor in sociology. I have been employed at the Hays County District Attorney's Office since 2014. The last 9 of those years, I've served as the misdemeanor legal assistant supervisor, managing a team of legal assistants there within the office. What I want to focus on for running for county clerk is I want to look at modernizing the records management system. And I want to make sure that records management system is working for not only the staff there in the office, but for the public as well that needs access to those records as well. Another thing that I want to focus on is looking at cross-training the staff so that they're able to better serve the community whenever y'all are going into the office and getting customer service from them as well too. It's not only going to allow them to give better customer service to y'all, but it's going to allow the staff to grow their knowledge as well within the office and be better employees within the office. The last thing that I want to focus on is expanding the internship program to the Texas State students and allowing those students who are interested in public service to come into the office to get firsthand experience. Because I'm the internship coordinator at the DA's office as well too, so I know the value of the interns and the value that they can put into the office. And not only that, I'm looking at giving back to the office if we can potentially hire them as well too. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. I'm going to start with the questions that we prepared, and just to mix it up, we'll start in the middle and go to the outside. So we'll start with you, and let me just read. I'll just read the question. So this is about office management. What leadership experience do you have, and how will that inform your decisions in staffing, office policies, and staff management in the clerk's office?
Well, I was a supervisor in the clerk's office for 25 years. So I managed up to 15 staff members. What was the rest of the question? Sorry.
What leadership experience do you have, and how will that inform your decisions on staffing, office policies, and staff management in the county clerk's office?
So I like I said, I was manager or supervisor for at least 25 years, and the last was 2.5 years was a chief deputy clerk, in which I supervised several people, and we did purchasing, and I'm gonna quit right now.
Okay, if you have finished, we'll start with the next, and we'll pass it on to Nico. So Nico, same question. What leadership experience do you have, and how will that inform your decisions on staffing, office policies, and staff management in the county clerk's office?
So like I said, previous leadership, I'm currently in the office as the legal assistant supervisor for the misdemeanor division. Outside of the office, I have been involved in several nonprofit organizations. Just to name off a few, I'm the president-elect for the Texas State Alumni Association. I am the secretary for the Shine Mental Health Board, and I'm a member of La Sociedad Guatemala there in San Marcos as well too. So not only does my in-office experience give me good leadership skills, but my outside experience as well too. With that experience, it allows me to be able to handle multiple situations, multiple personalities, being able to train the staff, because I think my staff can tell you that I'm very hands-on. I get in the trenches with them. I'm not gonna ask them to do anything that I wouldn't do. So that's my goal is, once I get into the office, if I get into the office, is to learn everybody's job, make sure that I can be able to support them in whatever roles that they are in. Yeah, so I think my leadership skills make me a well-rounded individual to step into this role for county clerk. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Melanzi, would you like me to read the question again? Of course, only fair. What leadership experience do you have, and how will that inform your decisions on staffing, office policies, and staff management in the county clerk's office?
Well, as I stated in my opening statements, I joined the best leadership academy in the world in 1985 when I raised my hand and joined the U.S. Army. I spent 30 years in leadership training and actual real-world experience leading troops, not only in peacetime, but in combat. I had 4 commands. I was a logistics officer, and so generally those units are larger than most units that, that you would command. So my first command, I think I commanded about 350 personnel. As I rose up the chain, I had various staff positions. I was the director of human resources. I led operations in combat in Iraq, and I did purchasing and contracting as the state supply management officer for the Washington military forces. I have a long background in emergency management operations, and I believe that my qualifications, look, I've just been in the workforce for a long time, and I've done a lot of stuff. So, I just bring a lifetime of experience to the table and a lifetime of real practical leadership. And that's what I bring to the county clerk's office and what I'd like to continue to bring. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And you don't get a break. You're going to get this next question as well. So the third question, even though you currently work in the office, what would be the current operations that you would change if you have the opportunity?
Ooh, you gave me the microphone and a chance to talk about that. Look, the county clerk's office is running efficiently, and what I would say is that's been a monumental task to keep up with the growth in the county and keep pushing those limits of the systems and the processes, and that's what I've been working on since I got to the office. So the hardest part and the things that need to change the most are at a higher level than me. And that is how hard it is to get something approved to make real dynamic change. And we saw that when we worked on trying to get pay raises. We've seen that when we try and just implement a new system. It takes an extraordinary amount of time to get from, I need this new thing, through contracting and purchasing before it gets to a panel of people who are going to say yes or no. And we might hit that and get a great big no, and so we start all over again. So, time to stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you hand it to Mr. Castillo? So, Nico, you currently work for the Hays County, but in a different department. I got tangled here. How can you assure us that you have enough familiarity with the clerk's office to serve as the county clerk?
Good question. So again, I think with my experience there in the DA's office, I bring a different set of skills. I think the county and the precinct chairs trusted Amanda Calvert to step into the role of district clerk, and she came from my office. She was my mentor there. We served side by side in leadership positions there in the office. So, you know, I think I bring the same amount of skills, the knowledge to that office. There's a lot more to just managing the office. There's the day-to-day, there's training, there's running our CEDARS reports, and I think anybody in that office can tell you that I know that office inside and out because I put myself in those situations to learn the ins and the outs of that office. You know, like I said, I do bring a different set of skills, and I think that set of skills really puts me in a different category against my opponents. Another thing about me is we recently transitioned over to a new records management system in the office, and our district attorney, Kelly Higgins, our second in command, Greg Cox, trusted me enough to be the project manager for that position. So while I was managing that project as well, I was also managing my own duties as well as my supervisor duties there within the office. So again, I think that my skills outside of the office have brought a different set of skill sets that I could bring into the clerk's office. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Rogers, here's the question for you. You stated in your candidate questionnaire, I have supported several Democratic candidates throughout the years, but your personal voting history shows that between 2012 and 2020, you voted in Republican primaries 5 times. In 2022 and 2024, you voted in the Democratic primary. What evidence can you offer that you have made the switch to be a Democrat?
Well, I have several of the values of what the Democratic Party has. I tend to vote for the person, not the party, and that is how I've voted throughout the years. And I know right now there's a lot of Democratic Party members out there that are excellent people. And I'm trying to follow all the Democratic values, and I believe I have them down. I mean, that's, my life is integrity and honesty and fairness, and I just hope that that's enough to make it. I mean, I don't really know what else to say, but yeah.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions from the audience? Back here, I'll check.
Okay, this will be addressed to all 3 of you. How will you work to support the courts?
How will you work to support the courts?
Well, that is one of the primary focuses of the county clerk's office. One of our divisions is the support to the county courts at law. We have a complete team and staff that go to court, sit with the judges, manage the paperwork, process it all, get it into the system of record. So we're doing that work every day. I don't see how that would change. I mean, that is a functional role of the county clerk's office.
How will you support the courts in your new job?
Well, throughout my 30 years of experience and knowledge, most of it has been in the courts division. So therefore, I have always tried to support the needs of the courts, of the judges, and of the defendants or respondents in any of the cases. We always make sure that all the reports done, we upload everything to DPS or CEDARS. We have OCA reports that also help with the performance of the judges, of how our cases are being disposed of. We have the probate, we've been audited by guardianships, or the guardians have been audited, and those have been worked, and we're trying, or as I was leaving, we were trying to get those so that we're in compliance with the state.
How will you work to support the courts?
Yeah, I think being able to support the courts is having a good working relationships, not only with the county court of law office, but also the DA's office, the district clerk's office, and the district judge's office. Because what some of y'all may not know is that when cases get routed down from felony to misdemeanor, you still got to work with the district clerk's office to bring in those cases, to make sure everything gets transferred over properly and accurately. You know, it's also supporting those judges who you're in the courtroom with on a day-to-day basis, making sure that their clerks that are in the courtrooms with them are working well with them and they have a good working relationship with them, and also meeting with those judges to make sure that you're still meeting with them and making sure that that staff that's in there working with them is giving them the support that they need, as well as the judges having a good working relationship with them as well too. You know, again, I've already said it before, I'm not afraid to get in the trenches with them. So, you know, I'm not afraid to step into the courtroom and sit on a computer and do the work as well too with those judges as well. Another thing that I think another way we can support the courts and the district attorney's office is, you know, at one point in time, we were having monthly meetings with the DA's office, the clerk's office, the judge's office. And that's something that I want to bring back, because we were able to bring up any issues that we were having in those meetings and address them and get those issues fixed. So that way at the next month's meeting, we could make sure that those issues were solved and bring up anything else that needed to be brought up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That wraps it up for this group. How about a... Next are the candidates for the County Court of Law, number 2. I'm going to ask you the first question. All right, sir. Oh, I'm sorry. 2-minute statements. Oh. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
You ready to go?
2-minute opening statement.
Good evening. Oh, come on, good evening. This is not a wedding. Hi, I'm David Friesenheim. I'm a trial lawyer from over in San Marcos, and I'm running to be your next Democratic County Court of Law judge. Now, I want you to be honest with me, because I have to ask this everywhere. How many of you have no idea what a County Court of Law is? A few of you. Okay, so simple way to remember. If you get a traffic ticket and you're in a JP court, you're in a little bit of trouble. If you commit a murder and you're in a district court, you're in a whole lot of trouble. If you're in county court of law, I suppose you're in just the right amount of trouble. So we do assaults and DWIs and thefts and stuff like that. So my campaign slogan is, let's get real. Okay? Real Democrat, real experience, real change. You shouldn't have to say in a Democratic primary that you're a real Democrat, but as you've heard, the person you're not going to hear from this evening is a Trump supporter, and we're both running to try to get him out of there. I'm a lifelong Democrat. I'm the former precinct chair over in Box 340 for the Democratic Party. And I'm about as true blue as you're going to find. Experience, I've been doing criminal trial law for 35 years. I've done thousands of cases. I just got through the felony jury trial yesterday. I've done over 150 jury trials. I've been both a prosecutor and a defense lawyer. I've been in private practice now for about, am I done? No. Okay, all right. But the clock is ticking, real change, okay? There's a couple of 2 or 3 areas I want to focus on. I want to make sure, first off, that in DWI cases that we're catching people with problems before they become a real problem. I want to use bail bonds and compliance hearings to try to make sure if we've got somebody who's got a case pending, or they've got somebody on probation and my time is out, I'll sneak this in later.
Okay, thank you. And just hand the mic to Mr. Just, 2-minute opening.
Hi, my name is Thomas Just, and I am an Air Force veteran, and I've been practicing here in Hays County for a while. What's interesting is that this court does both criminal and civil. And I've been fortunate enough to have extensive experience in both. What I'll also tell you is, you heard earlier, our county is growing by leaps and bounds. And our courts have not kept up. They were never designed for this level of volume. And so we need to modernize, and we need to get new tools to solve problems that have become, we cannot ignore them anymore. We need new diversion courts. We need to provide Spanish interpreters. 1 in 5 people in Hays County speak Spanish. We have 0 interpreters on staff at the court. We also need diversion courts for juveniles with mental health issues. We need a diversion court for young adults, 18 to 24. And the other thing is we need to fully fund the public defender's office. Right now, it's only partially funded. I also believe that we need a new generation of leadership. We need people with new ideas, fresh perspectives, and people ready to take on the work and treat this job as a full-time job and not something to retire into. It is also extraordinarily important that we remove the Republican, who is a lifelong Republican, trying to fool us that he is now a Democrat. He is not. That's the one thing that we both agree on. I was also the vice chair of the Hays County Democratic Party, and I was a board member of KBAD. I have a long history of being present and helping my community and showing up when it matters.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to move on now to the questions. So how will you handle making difficult decisions, even if there is external pressure or if the decision will be unpopular? And give a solid example.
Well, I have made unpopular decisions for the last 30 years. I have a weird way of making a living. If I mess up, my customers get put in handcuffs and let off to prison cells. I walk into courtrooms where everybody assumes that I represent the bad guys. And yet I tell people that my job is simply to defend the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, one case, one person at a time. I don't feel external pressure. I just look at the person, the human being, and the problem that's in front of me and try to solve it and try to help that person.
Repeat the question for you. How would you handle making difficult decisions, even if there is external pressure or if the decision will be unpopular? And give a solid example.
I served as an intelligence analyst in the Air Force, and I had a position where we were going through a live op. It was a live mission. And I was the subject matter expert on 3 different positions that night. And there was a new watch commander, and they issued an illegal order to one of my airmen that I was supervising. I immediately said, belay that, and I pulled them aside, showed them the rules, said, no, you cannot do that. They said I was wrong. They went and reissued the order. I immediately said, you're relieved my airman, and I assumed his position. They repeated the order, and I said no. I was threatened with court-martial. I was threatened to be put in cuffs right then and there. And if I was wrong, that's what would have happened. Fortunately, the chief came and fixed the situation, and we got it sorted. And I was right. I was told I was right. And they were removed. The point of this question is that the rule of law is under attack. We have people in this state and this country who think the rules do not apply to them, and they are powerful, and they have been waging a war on the courts and on district attorneys. And this is a position where you need to know that someone who is threatened won't back down, that has a backbone, is not scared. I don't scare easy.
Thank you. hang on, we're gonna mix it up a little bit and give you the next question also. So, Mr. Just, this court handles the Veterans Court and a primarily criminal docket. How does your experience apply to this position?
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to do both criminal and civil. I have practiced criminal law. I have tried plenty of cases. This also supervises the Veterans Treatment Court, and I am a veteran. And I think that it would be extraordinarily powerful to have veterans in that Veterans Court dealing with somebody who's going to hold them accountable, who has marched in their same boots, who has stood in the same lines at the VA, who has dealt with the same PTSD, anxiety, and depression issues, and has come out the other side and made something of themselves. That's extraordinarily powerful. And I want to help them. It would be the honor and privilege of a lifetime to serve my brothers and sisters in that way.
Thank you. Mr. Friesenhoff, same question. This court handles the Veterans Court and a primarily criminal docket. How does your experience apply to this position?
Well, in addition to a Veterans Court, we actually have 5 diversion courts in this county. We have the Veterans Court. We have a pretrial intervention program that runs through the probation department. We have a pretrial diversion program that runs through the district attorney's office. We have a pretrial diversion program for young people, DWIs, and we have a mental health court. And I have had clients that have fallen into all 5 categories over the last 30 years. I've had veterans that have come back from Afghanistan and from Iran. But we do a good job here in this county with pretrial diversion, but where we fail people is on the back end. When we have people jump through the hoops to go through a pretrial diversion program with the hopes of getting their criminal records cleared, what we don't do at the back end is give them the information and the tools that they need to finish punching their ticket. If you go through a pretrial diversion program and you complete it, guess what happens to your criminal record? It still stays the same. There's still additional steps that you have to take, and we need to give people empower them, give them the information. How do you get into a court? How do you get free legal help to get your record expunged? I'll even give them the paperwork so they can do it themselves. I don't think it's fair to ask people to go through pretrial diversion programs, and I've seen this happen over and over again, to jump through all those hoops, get the ticket, and not be able to punch it. I think we are failing people on the back end, and that's what we need to remedy in this county.
Okay, thank you. And I think you were reading my notes because the next question is, what is your position on diversion courts? And Mr. Just.
I think we need more of them. We spend millions of dollars in this county sending inmates to jails and for-profit prisons across the state and across the country. Investing on the front end saves us an extraordinary amount of money on the back end. It's an investment also in our own public safety. Because if we don't take care of these people on the front end and give them a second chance and give them the help that they need, they'll be back. These people will return to the same exact situation that led them into the courts in the first place without any new tools. It's no surprise that once you get into the criminal justice system, it is often a revolving door. We need to make the investment to get them the help on the front end and get them out of the system and keep them out.
Thank you. And to you, Mr. Friesenhoff, you get to extend your last answer a little bit. What is your position on diversion courts?
Love them. Okay? That's why, and I'm fortunate enough to live in a county where we have, as I mentioned, 5 of them. And here is one area where me and Thomas respectfully disagree with one another. I don't think we need to go invent another diversion court just to have another diversion court, just to say that we created the program. As I said, we've already have 5 diversion courts in this county. There's no age limits on them. I've gotten 40-something-year-old people into diversion courts. If you're 19 years old and you don't have a record, there's no reason why you shouldn't get into a diversion court in this county already. If you're a veteran and you can't qualify for Veterans Court because you're not eligible for VA services, We make it possible for you to go to the mental health court so they can provide services for you. I don't want to use taxpayer money and resources to create yet a 6th diversion court when we already have 5 that are doing the job. What I keep telling people is we're failing on the back end. It's not just enough to put people in diversion courts. You have to give them the tools and the information that they need, that once they complete that diversion court, they have the ability to go back and get their records sealed, expunged, cleared, so that 10 years later, they're not calling me up saying, 10 years ago, I went through a diversion court, but this is still popping up on my record, and I still can't get a job. We need to do not just the front end, but the back end.
Okay, thank you. And Ray or Rick, do we have a question? Okay, we don't have one from the audience, so I've got one. I'm sorry, you're not part of the audience, sir. You're part of the candidates.
Well, I had some advice for the getting rid of the Republican candidate.
You'll have your chance, sir.
Okay.
You'll have your chance, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. So, but I do have a question that I prepared. So the courts division is where criminal misdemeanor, civil, guardianship, probate, mental health, and juvenile cases are filed. And the case records are kept. How would you rate the performance, and what areas in this courts division would you like to see improvement in?
Well, this is kind of unusual to hear from a criminal defense lawyer, because typically my job is to delay stuff as much as possible. But I think one area that we could be doing a better job in is getting cases to move faster through the system. It shouldn't take a long time for a misdemeanor case to get resolved. But I think it takes far too long to get them resolved in this county. It's not fair to anybody. It's not fair to victims who need closure. It's not fair to people who have criminal cases hanging on their heads and they're accused. And it's not fair to you guys who expect the cases to move through this system and justice to be done efficiently. What I propose to do is what a lot of other counties do, which is to use docketing orders. And all a docketing order is, it's a deadline. It's a system where when a case gets assigned an attorney, that case gets a deadline for getting done. The case is given a court date so that the attorneys, the parties can get discovery that they need, the evidence they need for the case. A court date is set so that the case can try to be resolved. But if it isn't, there's a final drop dead date for getting the case done. I know this isn't the sexiest issue in the world, but this will make a huge impact on the way this court runs. Cases will got done faster. People will not be left with their lives hanging on, because they can't get their case resolved. Let's set deadlines. Let's just get the cases done, guys.
Okay, thank you. And to Mr. Just, same question. The courts division is where criminal misdemeanor, civil, guardianship, probate, mental health, and juvenile cases are filed, and the case records are kept. How would you rate the performance of that division, and what areas would you like to see improvement in?
So right now it takes 3 to 6 months to get a misdemeanor trial scheduled. Doesn't take years. On the civil side, it's a different story. Our civil docket has been backed up for quite some time. And part of that requires somebody who has actually done civil law. The other issue is that I want to come back to something earlier. Diversion courts work. I've used them in Travis, I've used them in Williamson, they work. And at the end of it, they seal their records, they expunge them. That's the whole point of a diversion court, is to get them the help that they need, take care of them, and make sure that they don't come back. We do not have, by the way, we have less diversion courts than Travis. We have less diversion courts than Caldwell. We are on the lower end. We have far less diversion courts than most counties anywhere near our size. We need to do a better job of getting civil trials scheduled and the backlog run through. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Give this group a hand, please. Thank you. And the next group is the candidates for district judge of the 428th.
I'm not running after second.
All right, thank y'all. I'm Bill Henry. I'm running for the 428th District Court, and it's important to know a little bit about me. Like a lot of people, I was raised by a single mom. We moved about 10 times in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade because every time the rent came due, we had to move. I've been in Hays County for about 37 years, served on the 428th District Court. I have tried all kinds of cases. I've tried capital murder cases. I've tried child sexual assault cases. I've tried drug cases. I've done over 200 jury trials as a lawyer and as a judge. In addition to the criminal side, I'm board certified in both civil trial law and family law. You don't get those kind of qualifications as a judge in Hays County. No one else has those qualifications. I've always been objective on the bench, but I've spent a lot of time serving on the bench fighting Republicans. Because you may not know it, but over the last 10 years or so, there's been this fight that the people in New Braunfels wanted to control our courts. I've stood up to Republicans, both in this county and in the other county, and in Comal County. In addition to that, I did first diversion court in Hays County, the first drug court. Didn't do a bunch of press releases, didn't do anything like that, but I helped people. And so I'll have more to say about this particular race and just be honored to have your consideration. Thank you.
Ms. Benoist Templeton, 2 minutes.
Good evening. Thank you all for being here tonight. My name is Cassie Benoist Templeton, and I'm running to be your next 428th District Judge. I am a career prosecutor. I was raised by 2 public servant parents, one who was a special education aide in the school district I grew up in, and my dad was a law enforcement officer. I know what a public servant does. It is what was set as an example for me day in and day out. I'm running because Hays County deserves better. Hays County deserves change. We are in 2026. We deserve somebody who understands that we need to push the needle forward. I am the felony prosecutor over in Caldwell County. I just rotated off the crimes against women and children caseload. I know how the laws and things affect real people. I know when cookie cutter responses from courts can affect terribly families, not only in criminal side, but civil side as well. I'm in the 2nd round as the drug court prosecutor in the county that I prosecute in, and that diversion court I have seen work time and time again. It is not looking at, oh, you're using, you're clean. It is looking at, let's solve this problem. Why are you using? I want to bring that experience home to Hays County. I've lived here for nearly 20 years. I attended Texas State University. I am raising my 2 young children here in the public school systems. We deserve that here in Hays County. We deserve a judge who understands how important specialty courts are. And I believe with my experience, Judge Key's dedication right now to the drug court program, we can have one of the best in the state of Texas. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Joe Poole, and I'm running for my seat, which I am the incumbent as the 428th Judicial District Judge. And you hear these people say, do better. Well, there is a problem. In 2022, I ran against Bill Henry. He was a Republican. I unseated a 4-term Republican. Okay, spent my own money to do it, and I'm still here fighting, and I'm fighting for this job. Ms. Cassie here is talking about, kind of had some veiled insults to my court, and so I want to answer something right now, and that is that she is the prosecutor, assistant prosecutor in Caldwell County, and married to a police officer. Okay, San Marcos PD, that's fine, that's great. But here's the problem. Half of her work is going to be criminal. And defense attorneys come in there, and they're going to have a problem, okay? And when we do jury pools, and they want to get rid of jurors, well, if your husband is a police officer, that's a for-cause dismissal to get rid of a juror. So all I'm saying is this is problematic, okay? So you can say bad things about me, but your candidacy is a bit problematic. Okay, so what have I done? In 2014, I sued the Republican Party because of their ballot access issues. In 2017, I sued Trump for his First Amendment violations. No ICE in my court, okay? We're not going to have ICE in my court. Okay, you can't be a Trump supporter and be a judge, and here's why. Because the constitutional law says that the election, the 2020 election was not stolen. That's the constitutional law. Okay, so anybody that takes the oath that believes otherwise is lying. Am I finished?
You have a couple seconds.
Okay, and so that's the problem with being a Trump supporter. Okay.
Now you are. Hang on to the mic. Okay. We'll give you the next question.
Okay.
Okay, so how does your legal background apply to the requirements for this position?
Well, pretty well. I did a couple business startups, and so on the civil litigation side, and by the way, we're doing a wrongful death case right now. I just came from that case at 5 o'clock, and we've got two of the best attorneys in Texas, both from Houston, unfortunately, but Rusty Harden and Mike McGee. So if you wanted something to do before the storm comes in tomorrow, come on down to the court and you'll watch two of the best attorneys in the state of Texas doing the closing arguments in a wrongful death case. And that's my courtroom, which will be courtroom 6 in the government center on floor 3. And what was the question again?
How does your legal background apply to this position?
Yes, okay. So, yes, I've got a extensive business background, which helps me with all kinds of cases, the civil litigation, but also divorces. We've had cases where the guy somehow got his wife to move out. He's moved in some way. He says it's not his girlfriend and all this, and it's been going on for 2 or 3 years, okay, with the prior judge. And so I come in and I say, hey, we're selling the house. You're out, she's out. The non-girlfriend girlfriend is out in 30 days. You're out in 60 days. And the broker had the house sold in 90 days. Okay, this has been going on for years. So that's helpful, and it's because of my background in real estate.
Okay, thank you. And we'll come over here to Mr. Henry. Same question. He's got, here's the mic. I'm sorry. Same question. How does your legal background apply to the requirements for this position?
I've done this job for 17 years, trying exactly the kind of cases that are in this court. As an attorney, I have tried a lot of civil, family, and criminal cases. A court and a judge has to be objective when they're on the bench. But I tell you, it goes further than that. This year, I stood up on the courthouse steps and called out the ICE raid in Dripping Springs because I believe that it was a violation of our constitutional rights. That is an important part of what a judge does. It stands up when you have to stand up by yourself, when you have to stand up for important constitutional rights. That's what judges do. That's what's different about me. Number 1, experience, and number 2, the ability to stand up for our constitutional rights. Thank you.
And Ms. Benoit Templeton, how does your legal background apply to the requirements for this position?
I've been a prosecutor for 14 years. I've been in courtrooms like the 428th. I've managed heavy caseloads day in and day out with little to no budget in a rural county. I know how to efficiently move cases but still respect the rights of every person that comes into that courtroom. And that is what Hays County deserves. Hays County, we have to, as the judge, you are the person in between the chaos that is going on in this country and keeping the rule of law. That is the judge's, that is their duty. That is the duty I want to take on for my county. I have the experience telling people no. I have worked closely with law enforcement. I am related to law enforcement. Law enforcement who does what is right. I have told law enforcement no repeatedly. Actually, told law enforcement no last week. I am one, as a prosecutor, I seek justice. As a judge, you are to enforce the law. You are to apply the facts to the law and uphold the Constitution and the laws here in the state of Texas, and that is what I'm wanting to do here in Hays County.
Thank you. Can you hand the mic to Judge, you have a lengthy history of supporting Republican and conservative candidates and issues. You voted in the Republican primaries until 2022.
That is a false statement.
Well, I've looked it up. It's on the public record. Let me continue, sir.
No.
You ran for office. You ran for office 3 times as a Republican. Your social media shows you with supporting Republicans and Republican issues. You said in a questionnaire from the right-wing voter guide that Justice Clarence Thomas of the U.S. Supreme Court best reflects your judicial philosophy. How do you square this history with now running as a Democrat? And correct me if you think there's something I said wrong there.
Yes, there is. My voting history, you misstated. Yes, I have voted occasionally as a Republican back in 2012 and 2014 when I ran statewide. Okay, so you missed that. Well, that led to suing the Republican Party because they were corrupt and they didn't enforce their own rules. And so I sued them, I took them to task, and then in 2017, I sued Trump to get us out of Afghanistan, because this is what people don't understand. It's the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan, okay? The First Amendment says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or freedom thereof. And so we were establishing $5 billion a year for the Afghanistan security forces, okay? That was establishing an Islamic Republic, okay? So I sued Trump because they said they were going to get out and they didn't. Sued them. The Fifth Court of Appeals, or did not agree. The Fifth Circuit Court in New Orleans did not agree. Said the president's power is absolute in foreign affairs, but it may be absolute, but funding from Congress, you cannot have an appropriation to establish a religion. And anything that supports a religious organization is an establishment of religion. So the $2 trillion we spent was a violation of the First Amendment in the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan.
Okay, thank you. Hand it to Mr. Henry. You get your own question. So you voted Republican in primaries from 2006 to 2022. You have a long history of contributing to Republican causes and candidates. You did not vote in the 2024 primary. How do you reconcile this with now running as a Democrat and with your statement that I have supported Democratic office holders for 20 years?
I love this question. The fact of the matter is, we are on the precipice of a constitutional crisis. I think anybody who has open eyes knows that. We need to elect people that have the guts to stand up for constitutional rights. I can tell you that over the long haul since 1980, my first vote for Jimmy Carter, I have voted for Democrats. I guarantee you, I bet I voted for more Democrats than some of the people in this room. I didn't run as a Democrat to appease any particular person. I ran as a Democrat to join you in solving and working on these constitutional issues. One of the things that came about is sometime back in the years past, I was sitting there and I was at this multi-million-dollar ranch house, and these people were talking about how, about stolen elections or whatever. And I left to go over to go to San Marcos, and they were talking, a group of Democrats were talking about how to get haircuts for kids. And it hit me that there's no way that you can stay as a Republican. So however this thing works out, I look forward to joining y'all and working on these important issues. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Benoit Templeton, you voted in the Republican primaries in 2014, 2018, 2016, 2020, and did not vote in the 2022 or 2024 primaries. How do you explain this voting history in light of running as a Democrat?
My voting history was strategically done. As many of y'all know who have been here for any length of time, we lived in a very, very red county where numerous local races were decided in the Republican primary, and I wanted my vote to count. So many of those races were law and order races. As a career prosecutor practicing just across the county line, those affected my job. It affected my cases, sometimes law enforcement, and that is why I have not had a change in values. I am running because I do believe in the Democratic Party, and I was doing that strategically. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a question from the audience? Do not have a question, okay? Then I have one. The courts division, and you heard this a moment ago too, is where criminal, misdemeanor, civil, guardianship, probate, mental health, and juvenile cases are filed, and the case records are kept. How would you rate their performance, and what areas would you like to see improvement in? And we'll start with the judge. Yes, sir. The courts division is where criminal, misdemeanor, civil, guardianship, probate, mental health, and juvenile cases are filed, and the case records are kept there. How would you rate the performance of that division, and what areas would you like to see improvement in?
Okay, you're asking me about the lower courts, the county courts of law. Okay, well, we don't have any probate, don't have any under 18-year-olds. But anyway, I think we're doing pretty dang good as far as with the felony cases, because we've got a lot less backlog. I hear people talk about backlog all the time. Ours is good, and we don't have a backlog, and we're processing the cases. The other day I did 17 pleas and 5 sentencings before lunch, and the assistant district clerk told me that was a new record, and I was going, okay. And you know, that's good. And you say I do it too quickly or too cookie cutter. Here we go. 6-0 on appeals. It says 5-0, but I just got a new mandate. We're 6-0 on appeals in my 428. And for those of you who don't know, under 3.5% THC is Delta 8. Delta 9 is over 3.5% THC. And so a public service announcement for everybody. I made my Delta 9 hats, 9-9. You can't do Delta 9, okay? That's supposed to be funny. I'm sorry, you don't think so.
Okay, thank you. And if I misspoke about the courts division applying to y'all, but related to the records kept.
Jeff, I believe that we are on the same page. I believe that there have been great strides in catching up on the criminal backlog that I believe we all are aware of. There were news stories about it, what Kelly Higgins, when he came into office, what that backlog was, and we have a Democrat in there that actually addressed the problem, and they have done great strides in that office to do so, as well as with the courts, both on the second, which is our county court of laws, as well as the third floor, being our district courts, on catching those criminal cases up. I do believe there is a lack, and have been talked to by numerous civil attorneys, that civil cases are still backlogged. And they are obviously, due precedence goes to criminal. We don't want people sitting in jail for lengthy amounts of time. So there are ways around to get those civil cases. It falls on the court, it falls on the judge, it falls on the court staff to work. It's putting a civil trial in between your 2 criminal trial weeks. It's getting unique and creative ways to find time for those civil cases to be addressed. And everyone, whether it's criminal or civil, deserves a day in court.
Same modified question.
Judge Tibby and Judge Key are doing a great job in removing the backlog. In addition to our district attorney's office, that's the team that it takes. I believe that we need a change. We need another judge who can come in there from day one and start doing the very best job available. Most attorneys think that they can put on a robe and just become a great judge from day one. It takes years and years and years to learn the things that you need to learn to move these cases, to be efficient on these cases. And you can't move them too fast because you're dealing with people's lives. You're dealing with people who are sitting there facing life without parole, facing a potential death penalty. And you can't move, you can't rush them. But if you know what you're doing, if you have the experience, then you can come in and become a part of that team to help us with that. So I ask for your support in that and ask for your consideration. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's give this group a hand. Next are the candidates for the district attorney.
This one thing?
Yes, sir.
I ran in 2022, okay, as a Democrat. So how could that be running or voting in the Republican Congress? That's crazy.
I get to answer the questions.
Okay.
I get to ask them. All right, thank you, gentlemen. We're going to start with the opening statements, 2 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Alfonso Salazar, and I'm running to be the district attorney. A little bit about myself. I have been in Texas, and my family has been in Texas since this had a name. It was just dirt. We've just been here. I am from San Antonio originally, and like everyone else up here seems to be drawn to service because we didn't have very much, and we were a working family with one parent. College seemed to be a pipe dream. So I did what most people do when you can't afford to go anywhere. You join the military. I was a military police officer for the United States Air Force for 12 years, in the Air National Guard and in the state of Texas. I have led hundreds, if not thousands of people all around the world. It taught me tons of things. But through that time, I went to UT, got my undergrad degree in government with a minor in history and a certificate of European studies. I transitioned to Baylor Law School, and I came out of there flying, ready to hit the courtroom. I spent some time with the Williamson County Felony Division District Attorney's Office, and then I went to McLennan County and set up their first DWI and drug court. After that, I was still in the military. It took me all over the place one more time. Finally, I got back, met my lovely partner. We settled in Hayes, and I have been practicing law, doing criminal defense and civil rights ever since. I have practiced everything from a murder case, Judge Henry can vouch for that, all the way down to a noise complaint. I have even sat in the expert witness chair and testified, given all of my expertise. I've been in the courtroom as a victim. I have sat there next to the prosecutors. I have sat at the defense table. There is no angle of justice that I do not understand. And when I say justice, I mean personally. These are people. These are lives. These are not numbers. These are not quotas. These are not backlogs. These are individuals in our community that need our help. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Salazar. 2 minutes. As soon as she sets her clock.
We good to go? Hi, everybody. My name is Landon Campbell. I am a dad, I am a husband, and I am a division chief in your criminal district attorney's office here in Hayes County, Texas. Like a lot of candidates, I was raised by a single mom in a single wide trailer. And she cleaned houses every single day, and she gave me the grit and the work ethic to go into work every day and say, what did we do yesterday? Cool, let's do better tomorrow. We've done that in your district attorney's office here in the last 3 years. You've heard a lot about backlogs. You've heard a lot about diversion courts, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. I want to agree with Mr. Salazar on that. 5,600 people, defendants and victims at the beginning of Kelly Higgins' administration were waiting for the day to be able to even walk into a courtroom. And we looked at that and we said, not here in Hayes County. We reduced that by 70%. Some people call that citing quotas. I call it results. Now, Mr. Friesenheim, he talked about 5 diversion programs in courts. I'm going to have a little issue with that. From our justice of the peace courts, to our county courts, to our district courts, we're working at 8 or 9, and 3 years ago we had 2. That's results in Hays County. I'm proud of that. At the same time, we've been able to focus on violent crime and crimes against those who are most vulnerable. I want us to be able to do both because I believe that democratic values are governing values in Hays County, and I have the best job in the world because I get to go to work every day and prove it. I'm running because I believe that we can continue to do great work for the people of Hays County. We've done a lot. I believe that we can do more. That's why I'm running.
Thank you. Mr. Salazar, you have 90 seconds for the next question. Do you view the district attorney as a primarily managerial, policy, or practicing position? And do you plan to be in the courtroom or in the office more often?
I'm neither one of those, or none of the 3. It's a combination of all of the 3. The district attorney's office, in my opinion, has been being wasted behind a desk. Yes, they should be in the courtroom when it calls for it, because they're the tip of the spear. They're the leader of the office. But they should be out in the community, finding out what the problems are, finding out what the people care about, because I can be a mouthpiece and a microphone to bring it to other elected officials. The DA's office is a nexus between the things that happen bad in the community and then what we do about it. So the person in charge should know about those things firsthand. And it is also managerial, and you must know how to address different personality types. Like I said, I managed people and thousands of different personalities. When I was not behind a desk, when the decisions mattered, when if I made a wrong decision, it could cost me or my brother's life. I have made those decisions in tough situations. Nobody will push me around. Nobody will tell me what to do, because Hays County and Texas and the United States of America is my home. And I have defended that, and I have served since the day I got a job. And I will continue to serve Hays County in that fashion. A new revolutionary way to be the district attorney. It is not one thing, it is not 3 things, it is me in front of you doing all.
Thank you. And Mr. Campbell, same question.
So your district attorney is wearing 1,001 hats. Any given day, they are working on IT issues. They are going then into a meeting on contracts. They are then going into a meeting with the defense attorney that didn't like an offer. That's the job of a DA. Oh yeah, and you head a department, so if the plumbing goes off, you're also dealing with that. In the last couple of months, we've also seen a new role for the district attorney. Because during all of those meetings back and forth, that district attorney can look down at their phone, and at the top of a hat, we have ICE or other state or federal overreach in our community. You need to know that you have a district attorney that can sit in every single one of those meetings, speak through experience, speak through actual action, and then turn and represent this community when Washington and Austin are knocking at the door saying that we want to interfere. As your next district attorney, I can promise you I know what to do in those meetings because I've been in them. I'm the only person in this race that has been a prosecutor. I'm the only person that has been an assistant criminal district attorney. I am ready to take on those challenges because I do it every single day. As a division chief in your office, I run a division that is larger than several of our surrounding counties' DA's offices. This is not new to me. There are no training wheels, and I'm ready to go day one working for you. Let me out.
Thanks. We'll switch it around a little bit so you don't get too predictable.
Yeah.
So, some progressive attorneys have complained that the Higgins administration did not go far enough on diversion and alternatives to prosecution. Do you agree or disagree, and what, if anything, can be done to improve the current situation?
I think that we did amazing work. We went from 2 diversion programs in courts to 9. We took a mental health court working with Judge Brown from about 3 people to 35 capacity right now. That's great problems to have. But at the same time, we need to collaborate more with our partners. We need to be working with our judges to make sure that when we double down on diversion, we are actually getting the resources to the people that need them. I believe that we have done amazing work, but I think that we could do so much more. We'll be having a drug court and a DWI court coming online so that we can spread that message from the Veterans Treatment Court, from our mental health court, to new courts. I believe that diversion should also be a front-end project. I've previously been the chair of the Shive Opportunity Center in San Marcos. I believe in real alternatives that make sure that someone doesn't even go into the criminal justice system to begin with. And after, once somebody is already in the criminal justice system, I believe in using every mechanism we have. That's why I've supported our new assisted outpatient treatment court, to get people that have crises of mental health diverted out of our criminal justice system totally and into the civil world. These are real results. It's not just talk. I promise you, we go in every single day, and I'm ready to keep doing it on day one.
Mr. Salazar, some progressive attorneys have complained that the Higgins administration did not go far enough on diversion and alternatives to prosecution. Do you agree or disagree? And what, if anything, can be done to improve the current situation?
Well, this actually speaks directly to one of my foundations for running for district attorney. The issue is the intake division. Things are getting filed that shouldn't be getting filed. You have to think of the intake division as the bridge between the community, law enforcement, and the DA's office, right? Some of these diversion courts that everybody's talking about are courts, right? Don't let that get past you. They have to get filed. They're charged with crimes. They show up to court. They have a defensive attorney, like myself, represent them and push them towards them because the DA's office has already put them in this position. So yes, some of the diversion courts have failed because it should have been an upfront approach. We have individuals that have substance abuse problems, alcohol abuse problems, that the intake division can identify right then and there. And then we can use PTI, PTD, or have some sort of back channel into these diversion courts without actually having to file charges against these people and go through those programs. We have individuals with mental health problems. Some of my clients that are so far gone, they're legally incompetent, have been wasting away in the jails for over a year. We could have addressed that right then and there in the intake division. I have other clients that don't meet the criteria for some of these diversion courts. There has to be a specific nexus with your mental health problem and whatever happened that got you there. The district attorney's office is the only one that gets to decide if that nexus applies, or if your diagnosis is applicable for that condition, or if they're equipped to deal with that. I've always said that we need to do more because diversion courts are made for those of us that can continue to jump through hoops like probation. Thank you.
Thank you. Hang on to the mic. Mr. Salazar, you voted in the Democratic primary in 2024, according to public records, but you have never voted in primary elections before that. And we don't have a record of you voting in municipal elections or runoffs. Why? Why is that?
So, like I said, a lot of us that came to civil service or try to run for office, it's because we come from backgrounds that aren't so fortunate. I was fighting for my life, literally. I got my first job under the table being paid cash at a Chinese food restaurant when I was 14 years old. And I had a job and I worked every single day until I left for boot camp when I was 20. And that took me all around the world. And then I came back. And what people don't tell you is that after I finished law school, I finished my undergrad degree at Baylor, or UT and then to Baylor. Transitioning out of the military is difficult. You lose an entire portion of who you are. And to be quite frank, I didn't even know if the politics or the people that were running cared about people that looked like me, cared about people that came from a place like me, and had just experienced the things that I had experienced. Then I realized, if I want to complain, I should be involved. So you vote. Then you get even more involved, and that's why I was Kelly Higgins' campaign manager. Then when he decided he was not going to run again, I decided to take that next step. And I'm here running for office because I have learned how important it is, but yet I am privileged enough to take time off to go vote now, to take time off to stand in front of you, and to take time off to run for this office. And I want to be very clear, everything that I've spoken about tonight is me, I, and my life. There is no we here.
Thank you. Mr. Cameron, in 2014, 2016, and 2018, you voted in the Republican primaries, and you were in leadership positions in the Texas Young Republicans. In 2020, 2022, and 2024, you voted in the Democratic primaries. How can we trust you to be a Democratic leader?
Sure, Jeff, I appreciate the question because I want to talk about this. I am a proud member of the Democratic Party because it's the only party in America today that actually seems to care about due process, equality, fairness, literally government some days. Now, why was I voting in those Republican primaries? Well, I'll tell you something. I don't really get to decide where I'm born or the family that I'm raised in. I was born in South Mississippi and I grew up in Katy, Texas. Anybody who might know something about those places knows what Thanksgiving dinners were like. And so I was a child with Fox News on right next to me. The important thing is, I grew up. And now I'm here. So there's actually been a bit of a whisper campaign going because there's nothing else they can talk about on record. It's amazing for Democratic results. And there's this whisper campaign that Landon Campbell is some closet Republican. Well, let me be extremely clear about something. If I'm a closet Republican, I'm doing a really bad job because I'm making Democrats look good every single day, reducing backlogs, focusing on diversion, and focusing on real crime in our community. And the other thing, for anybody that knows me and my husband and my daughter, I'm out of the closets business. I ain't doing it.
Do we have a question from the audience? No question. Well, I'm sorry, they had to have been written down ahead of time, unless, no,
Just to clarify, some of you did write some questions, but we've been listening to see if they've been answered through the questions. The first three questions came from Jeff. So if it was answered in that portion, then we did not want to, we don't have duplication. It's just going to produce the same answer and move on. So just to clarify further.
okay, thanks for the clarification. But we certainly, hope to hear from the audience, and it's not too late because there are still, can they still sign in on the sheets back there? Right? Because we still have some positions coming up after this one.
We can answer both, Jeff, if we want to. We'll answer both questions. We'll answer his and yours.
No, we got to keep to the timing.
I try.
We'll do have a fourth question for later, but I do have a fourth one for you. So hang on to the mic. Go ahead and start, Mr. Salazar. And here we go. How will you maintain the confidence of the police and the public when some of your policies may be opposed to their personal preferences?
Well, first and foremost, no one will ever call me anti-police. It's in my blood. I did it for over a decade. And on my platform, bolstering the intake division, because they're the first legal set of eyes that look at what happens. They see the interactions between law enforcement and our citizens. And we can address poor training, we can address poor attitude, we can address illegalities, and we can address everything underneath that umbrella. We are not doing our law enforcement any favors by not calling them out when they make mistakes. We are not doing our law enforcement any favors by not supporting them when they do good. And all that information will come from the intake division so that we can go to those chiefs, those commanders, those captains, and tell them which is which. Because I have still seen officers get away with murder. I just had one a week ago. And I've already talked about it, so I won't talk about it again. But I had a complaint that a charge was filed simply, from what my perspective is, to protect the officer that made a mistake. We have rules. People are trying to erode our rule of law, but we will hold them accountable and support them when they do good. And coming from the district attorney's office, it can be believable to the citizens, because I am not a law enforcement officer anymore. I'm a lawyer. and I can call balls and strikes for everyone, because the rule of law applies to everyone, whether you have a badge or whether you have a criminal record. Each interaction is a new day. Each day is a new time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Campbell, same question. How will you maintain the confidence of the police and the public when some of your policies may be opposed to their personal preferences?
Easy. We have several prosecutors here who've talked to you before. They can tell you that the person that tells officers no the most are your local district attorneys. This phone will light up at all times of the night. Adam gets very upset because I have cadets, mid-level supervisors, chiefs, deputy sheriffs who will call it saying, did we do the right thing? Why do they call me? Because there's been consistent communication beforehand that leads to real accountability afterwards. We have a new police department, for example, here in Hays County, the Uland Police Department. We worked integrally to get them set up when they were having issues with their municipal court. Right as I was heading down to Brownsville to be with my little baby as she was being born, I was on the phone talking to them. We then had issues with them as soon as I got back from family leave with getting evidence together. So I picked up this phone, I called that chief, and I said, when are we coming down? I'm taking my evidence, people, and we're going to fix your processes. Not can we, not will it work, not will you let me in the door. It was, I'm coming, when do you want me? Because that's what real accountability means. And if you've actually been in the room working with people, having real communication, then it's not simply walking in the door and saying, thou shalt obey me, for I am the district attorney. It is, you need to obey me because I've been here before. Remember what happened the last time you didn't follow the advice. Real accountability comes from that consistent communication. I am more than happy to tell an officer that they've done something wrong. I'm happy to.
Okay, thank you. Let's give this group applause. And the next group coming up will be the county commissioner candidates for both precincts 2 and precincts 4. I think we have enough seats for all 4 candidates. Because you're right next to me, we'll start right here. And so you have 2 minutes. Everybody just remember the format. 2 minutes to do an opening statement.
Hi y'all, I'm Angie Younger. And I promise that I didn't wake up one day and thought to myself, you know what would be fun? Running for county commissioner. I'm running because my kids were raised here and my kids will be continued to raise here. And I have cedar allergies, but that's okay. So for over a decade, I've been in my community, helping neighbors. I've been supporting Democratic candidates and at times helping Democratic candidates get elected. I've created bipartisan groups. I've created Democratic clubs. Always thinking about helping your neighbor. Always boots on the ground. For years, I had friends and neighbors say, Angie, you should run. And I'd say, absolutely not. I'm not a politician. And that they'd say, that's why we need you. We need more bold, empathetic, good-hearted leaders like yourself already doing the work. And here I am. I've, since the beginning of my campaign, and even before then, I've spoken about the same issues. I've shown up for commissioner's court, shown up for water-related meetings, showing up where decisions are being made. So, as your commissioner, my focus is clear. Water, we must plan responsibly. We must include conservation, rainwater harvesting, incentivizing that, putting that in our schools, municipal buildings, and homes. Roads, we must strengthen. We must strengthen our roads. And we must pursue state, federal funding, and other tools for that. And affordability. We must think of our senior citizens, teachers, law enforcement. I'm Angie Younger, and I'd be honored to have your vote and your support this primary so we can go and beat them in the general.
Thank you. Ms. Brown, 2 minutes.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. I'm Laurie Brown, and I am running also for Hays County Commissioner Precinct 4. I am a proud resident of Buda, Texas. I shop here, my dentist is here, my hair salon is here, and I work in San Marcos, so Hays County is important to me. I think that having KBAD support would mean everything in this race. And I think you have a right to ask why I am prepared to be the commissioner. And in one word, that word is experience. For more than 40 years, I have worked in banking, in real estate, and in higher education. My degree is in accounting. I have a bachelor's and a master's in accounting from Texas State, and I'm proud of that. Currently, I'm teaching accounting at Texas State. And I want you to know that my focus for commissioner will be to solely focus on the commissioner's job. I'm not going to have any other outside job. I'm retiring from Texas State in December of 2026. So one of the things as an accounting nerd I like to do is look at the budget. And I think the budget tells us everything about what county sets as priorities and its values. And I want to bring democratic values back to Precinct 4. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Escobar, 2 minutes.
Hello, I'm Brian Escobar, running for County Commissioner, Precinct 2. I'm a husband, a father, a grandfather. My grandchildren go to elementary in Precinct 2. But what I'm not is a politician. I am an IRS tax expert. I've been through budgets, I've been through audits, I've done everything that you can imagine in the financial world. That's why I'm running for a county commissioner. I have experience with contracts, and I've done it all. And like others have said, experience really does matter in this role. It's very important that we start electing people that have true experience. Thank you.
Mr. Flores, 2 minutes.
For those I don't know in this room, my name is Johnny Flores. I am a proud resident of Hays County. I am a proud Democrat, and I'm the grandson of an immigrant woman who came here seeking a better life. And I am currently the vice president of the Hays CISD School Board, one of the fastest growing districts in the state, among the largest employers in Hays County, and currently a district with a larger budget than that of even Hays County. And Democrats, I'm going to tell you something you already know, is that for the last several years, public education has been under attack. And not only from our governor, but from our president and a handful of billionaires that look to privatize education. But I, on the school board, have chosen to fight back. And that's why I was glad to co-sponsor a resolution in February of 2025 that stated clearly that all kids, regardless of their immigration status, are welcome in the Hays CISD. And they deserve to be safe, and they deserve a quality education. And now I want to take this fight to the Hays County Commissioner's Court to be your next Hays County Commissioner in Precinct 2. And we face enormous challenges: crumbling roads, the rising cost of living, and concerns about public safety. And I look to take on these challenges with solutions that are not only fiscally responsible, but fiscally efficient. But make no mistake, we live in a unique time in our history where we need local leaders to fight back and lead with democratic values. And that is what I intend to do. Thank you so much.
I'm going to add something to the format here that we haven't done until this group, and I think it's really important. This is for everyone, and this is a yes or no. Please answer by saying yes or no. This race has already become heated. Do you affirm that you will support and not undermine the Democrat who wins your primary, and that you will not support a Republican nominee in the general election? Yes or no? I want to hear a yes or no.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you. Just yell it out. Just yell it out. All right. Thank you. All right. We're going to start here with Ms. Brown for the next question. So Precinct 4 has a number of highly congested and dangerous traffic intersections, such as 967, 1626, and others. How will you, as County Commissioner, work to alleviate the massive congestion that occurs at some of these intersections?
Yeah, I experienced that coming over here. Did anybody else coming up 967? And it was really backed up. The traffic congestion here in Buda and in Dripping Springs is significant. Once again, 967, I experience that every morning when I'm going to work. And driving into town, you usually have to wait at the light, at least through 2 lights to get through, to turn right or left. Seems like we should have 2 lanes there in downtown. One to go right, one to go left, what I think. Also, I think some of the lane issues on 967 and 1626 could be done in the same way. But regardless of that, we've got some potential bond money coming, or hopefully, to work on roads. And I think what we need to do is to fix the traffic congestion before we start building any more roads to nowhere. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Thunder, same question. Precinct 4 has a number of highly congested and dangerous traffic intersections, such as 967, 1626, and others. How will you, as County Commissioner, work to alleviate the massive congestion that occurs at some of these intersections?
Those 2 minutes go by fast. So we must pursue state and federal funding and other funding tools. There's TERS, there's P3s. We have to, I believe, we have to respect our rural folk and the generations that have been here before us by strengthening these roads. We must also look at the data and make more responsible decisions when it comes to what areas need priority right away. For example, areas that lead to small business. I'm a small business owner. I'm a local realtor in Precinct 4. Schools. We've got narrow roads that need solutions. We need to fix them. Before we crack any more land, we must make sure we pursue data, we act responsibly, and ask the right questions, and involve, yellow paper, and involve the community. Citizen advisory committees. I want to champion those and make it collective governments, collective solutions. I never want to be the commissioner that speaks for everyone in my community without adding their voices into our decisions.
We're going to stick with Precinct 4 for a little while here. You are Precinct 4?
Yes, I am.
Okay. What policies can the Commissioners Court adopt to ensure that we have sustainable and clean water supply in Hays County, even for residents who are on wells?
Okay, well, actually listening to the agenda of a webinar from the Texas Water Development Board. You know, Proposition 4 gave us $20 billion over 20 years for water infrastructure projects. And the first deadline to be met for the first tranche of money is July of 2026. We need to be working on that. There's a difference with wells. We also need to be working with the state government to get additional authorities for the Hayes Trinity Conservation District. They do not have equal authority as Barton Springs Edward Aquifer does. So that's an important part too. And I would also like to see a property tax exemption for rainwater harvesting. We have property tax exemptions for wildlife, agriculture. Let's do it for rainwater harvesting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Unger, same question. What policies can the Commissioners Court adopt to ensure that we have a sustainable and clean water supply in Hayes County, including for residents on wells?
So I've been talking about this for years. I've been showing up to Commissioners Court, water-related meetings, and these solutions on how we need to incentivize rainwater harvesting. Our aquifers are stressed out. At this pace, we will run out of water in 10 years. But for wells, I've actually, as a local real estate agent, my experience, I've seen this devastation firsthand. The fear of our rural families that don't know when they open that faucet if there's going to be water behind that. We must protect them. This is why I say rainwater harvesting, educating our next generation of students, putting that in schools, municipal courts, and helping incentivize it so we can put it and prioritize for homes. Also supporting our groundwater districts. You know, we've got our groundwater district that is bleeding out, and we need to support that district. We also need to, apart from that, public education. We must do real public education when it comes to our grasses, when it comes to fragmentation, insects, and many more things. Use funds that have passed so we can get a piece of that pie and put it for water conservation.
I'll give you a chance to have a quick drink, and we'll go to Ms. Brown again. Ms. Brown, Precinct 4 is a large and diverse precinct, including Dripping Springs, West Buda, and even part of Austin. The current Republican Precinct 4 commissioner neglected the new eastern section that we live in now. How can you serve all the geographic areas and their populations equally?
Good question. Because we are responsible for I-35 West, all the way into Dripping Springs, most of Dripping Springs, as a matter of fact. To serve the community well, I think there needs to be open houses, lots of dialogue. I think probably as commissioner, I would do a town hall in Dripping Springs 1 month, do a town hall in Buda the next month. I want to hear from the residents themselves and see what it is their concerns are, because I do want to represent both that rural population as well as the more city urban population.
And Ms. Unger, you get the same question. Precinct 4 is a large and diverse precinct, including Dripping Springs, West Buda, even part of Austin. The current Republican Precinct 4 commissioner neglected the new eastern section. How can you serve all the geographic areas and their populations equally?
Yes, so Precinct 4 is huge, and you gotta give it to me for feeling sick and being here. So that's how much everyone matters. So, the question, how can I best serve everyone? With that, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, the entire precinct, all the population and geographic area.
Okay, how to best serve them? Well, from Henley to Dripping Springs to Buda, everywhere. I've talked about this before. Citizen advisory committees, holding community nights in local restaurants, local business to support that local business. I love to walk in and have all people and constituents from all walks of life supporting local business and hearing their concerns, hearing their voices. I said this before, I'm all about community. I've created parent-led groups. I've created, civic events, voter outreach, and I love to continue doing what I'm doing now as an elected official, serving the community always.
Thank you. We're going to get to Mr. Escobar. We're going to move on to Precinct 2. So, Mr. Escobar, in the past, while represented by Republicans, Precinct 2 has not gotten its fair share of funding for roads. As a result, many roads in this area are in desperate need of improvement. What are your top priorities for Precinct 2 roads, and how will you ensure that they get built?
I think there's no question that the east side has been ignored for quite some time. I would like all the roads to kind of look like that Daisy Lane, right? That it just recently got done. I lived on Goforth for a couple of years and had to travel that, bottoming out on my car, suspension repairs, tire repairs, rim repairs. And I think that once the funding gets done, part of what my experience is follow through. And you have to set guidelines, and then you have to attack it. You have to go there. You have to make sure that what is being contracted is actually being done.
Thank you. Mr. Flores, same question. Need me to read it again?
No. As an East Side resident, I understand what families go through every day. And let's be straight. Good roads are a matter of public safety, but they're also a matter of good governance. And there are many things we need to do. First of all, we need to make sure that those roads that were approved by certificates of obligation get done. And I was glad that the Commissioner's Court made that move. But we also have to monitor the courts, in case you are not aware. The 2024 road bond was overturned by a Travis County judge. It is currently in the 13th Court of Appeals. So we need to be ready to go to improve these roads, whether it's Windy Hill, whether it's Hillside Terrace, whether it's 2001. If you have driven down these roads, you know that they need repair. The third thing we need to do is collaborate, not only with TxDOT and municipalities, but with school districts. I, as a trustee, have already voted to approve roads and have worked with not only the county, but developers to make sure that roads near campuses are getting done. And make no mistake, we have a new high school being built in Northeast Buda. And Turnersville Road needs repairs. And this is going to involve a commissioner that has already built relationships to get this done. But we need to understand that building roads is a long process. Through feasibility studies, to schematic designs, all the way to construction. So we need to make sure we're cutting red tape where necessary, but never compromising our environment and building responsibly. And I know I have these relationships to get this done, and that's what I intend to do for residents, not only east of I-35, but all around Hays County.
Just hang on to the mic. We'll get the next one as well. What policies can the Commissioner's Court adopt to ensure that we have sustainable and clean water supply in Hays County, even for residents who are on wells?
Well, let's be clear. We are on code red when it comes to water, and we need to preserve water long-term for future generations. And one of the things that we can do is look to Williamson County, where they have an instructive model and are working with surrounding counties and counties far away to build their water capacity with a 50-year plan. So this can be instructive. In addition, I think I'm the only candidate on this stage that has visited Blue Hole Primary in Wimberley, Texas. They are a campus that has cut water use by 90% by using the one water model. Now, I was glad the Commissioner's Court approved a resolution in favor of this, but we need to take it a step further. The third thing we need to do is ensure that we are protecting our aquifers. But this is going to involve collaboration in not only county government, but all residents. And the last thing we need to do is ensure that we are expanding our water capacity long-term. And we can do this by collaboration. We can do this by bringing in more water from far away areas to ensure that future generations have adequate water supply and that we never run short.
And Mr. Escobar, what policies can the Commissioner's Court adopt to ensure that we have sustainable and clean water supply in Hays County, including for residents on wells?
there's no question we gotta protect our groundwater supply. But I'll tell you a quick anecdote. I had a client that was a granite contractor, and he was able to clean his water and send it back to the city of Austin, and it was drinkable. So why can't we start implementing policies like that? Let's use the purple pipe. Let's use some of the gray water for non-potable situations. There's so many layers of what we can do, and it's gonna take a collaboration, and it's gonna take education to let the public know that how dire straits we are with our water. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure, hang on to that for the next question. So, Mr. Escobar, increased prices on grocery bills, costs of rent, or to buy a home, insurance, and energy have continued to have us feeling the burden of our national affordability crisis. How can the Commissioners Court help to make life more affordable for Hays County residents?
I think affordability comes with being a good steward of taxpayers' money. We have to be able to control the taxes that we're charging back to our taxpayers, and we have to make sure that the taxes are functioning the way they're supposed to and paying for everything that needs to be paid for. We have to be a good steward of our money. That's gonna lead to affordability. We can't really talk about anything else until we control what we're bringing in and how it's going out.
Okay, thank you.
Let me just say, as a working father, I feel the pain of rising costs, whether it's the rising energy costs or the price we see when we are paying for our groceries. But let's be clear, we at the county do not control private sector wages, but we do control public sector wages. That is why on the Commissioners Court, I will work with my fellow Democrats to raise the minimum wage for county workers to ensure that they're getting paid at least $20 an hour so they can afford to raise a family in Hays County, so they can afford to live in Hays County. We must get this done, and Harris County just did this for their workers. The second thing we need to do is ensure that we are not only being fiscally responsible with taxpayer dollars, but fiscally efficient. And on the school board, I have done this because people are not just numbers on a spreadsheet. They are real people, and this involves values and prioritization. And I will lead with democratic values to ensure that the people that need help can get it. But I want to say this, that the rising cost begins with housing. So we need to make sure that we allow working people to have adequate shelter, and that we are helping with rental and utility systems. This involves partnerships to make sure that no one is falling through the cracks. Because we need to do better for working people in the county, and that's what I intend to do.
Thank you. And do we have a question?
This is for all four of you, and I'll stay up here to repeat it as many times as I need to because it's a little on the long side. Who's going first? Yes.
Start down here with Mr. Flores.
Okay. Currently, over 60% of the county budget goes towards the criminal legal system, while only 2% goes towards public health. If elected, would you support an increase in funding to services that help meet people's basic needs, and what would be your priorities?
And let's just understand that the rising cost of healthcare begins with there's very little chance that Obamacare subsidies continue. And the U.S. Senate is unlikely to vote on what the House just approved. So what we need to do on the county level is ensure that people can get vaccinations, that they can get screenings, and that we're doing all we can to strengthen our public health sector. So yes, I do agree with an increase on the next budget for investments in public health. But we need to do all we can that people are not falling through the cracks. We're all feeling the rising cost of healthcare, and we must do all we can at the county level to fill these gaps.
I'm gonna try to get through this without getting emotional. My daughter was in a terrible accident. She's 27 years old, and Jennifer and I provide her entire care. Without income, she doesn't qualify for Obamacare. So her entire well-being is dependent on us for roughly the last 2 years. It's a very sad case, so I absolutely will champion some basic health needs that she doesn't or hasn't been able to qualify for whatever reason. It's not easy, and that's the other thing. We need to make it easy for the disabled people to be able to get the help. Okay, what my daughter has been experienced is it's tough. I'll leave it at that.
Currently, over 60% of the county budget goes towards the criminal legal system, while only 2% goes towards public health. If elected, would you support an increase in funding to services that help meet people's basic needs, and what would be your priorities?
Okay, well, I am in full agreement with increasing spending for public health. Not only public health, and I'm not sure if that would be considered part of public health, but we have about 15% of our county, I believe, that is food insecure. And that is a big problem. I know even on the campus of Texas State, they have a program called Bobcat Bounty, where students who are food insecure can come and get food. And it is supported by Hays County Food Bank. Kids need immunizations. I know that the current administration is telling us all kinds of novelty goods about what we need. I don't believe he knows what he's doing. So, we need immunizations. We need public health clinics. There's no reason for a child to be ill and not have access to health care.
I fully support funding and helping public health. We must prioritize children, marginalized communities, senior citizens. I work with senior citizens, and sometimes they need rides to their appointments, or they require advocating or explaining regarding vaccinations. And we also, the same for kids. It's important that we make available public health clinics as well and prioritize that. It's very a shame that only 2% goes to public health. And we must also educate the public in bilingual so they can understand that this type of help will be available. I will pursue this and make it a priority. It is really important, especially for marginalized communities, children, senior citizens, and families that cannot afford health care and all of the above.
Thank you. All right, that's it for the county commissioners. Let's give them a hand.
Hey, Jeff. We are having technological difficulties. We need to take a 5-minute break before we get to the county judge panel. So if y'all take a minute. I asked JD to go pee for me. He said that he couldn't, so it's a great time. Anyway, so take a few minutes, but wait. Whenever we get back, when I go on, I want you guys to know that we're going to briefly allow Judge Baker and Tanya Lloyd to have 30 seconds before we go on. We missed them in our opening. So take your 5 minutes, give them their minute total, and we'll get back to it. Thank you, folks. Perfect. Oh, you're good.
All right, ready?
It's important, you know, you gotta care about it. It's not scary.
Thank you.
Almost there. Oh, it's charging, the battery pack is charging. Yeah, I think it's better air. That'd be strange. The sound panel thing. This controls the sound. Yeah. So these are all the different microphones.
One more tables back to back today.
Yeah, I thought I was going to have to be up there.
Like the sound board in high school.
Yeah, I thought I was going to have to be up there the whole time. And he's like, oh, okay.
That's the future. I guess
I was advocating.
I wonder if I was in tech theater.
It's funny you predicted, we were worried about that not being into the battery. I can't believe Julie doesn't have a second battery.
It made for 2 hours.
Yeah. So yeah, so the reason why it's not able to record longer than 29 minutes is because then it would be considered a camcorder, and then that would tax purposes be more, and then the file would be too big. And it's not meant to be It's okay. It's not meant for. Did Julie tell you that it's for?
Yeah, I think
No matter what card you do, every file, because it's meant to take pictures, stops at 29 minutes. And the same thing, who keeps a camera on that long taking photos for 2 hours straight?
Right.
Yeah, so that's why.
Let's check the battery, see how we're doing.
The thing is, it won't tell us how it's actually not. There's going to give us a bar. Is that the last one to record?
Yeah, this is going to be the last one. The last
Recording only lasts about 90 minutes. The battery. How do you see it?
Let's see how it is.
Yeah. 2 hours to fully charge.
Robert? Good to see you.
Oh, yes. Just use the other person's one. What about that other person's one?
That's
Why don't we with somebody's like brand new joint? Oh, like this. Sure. Yeah, but how do they so like figure it out?
like the recording.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, maybe we should just use somebody's cell phone. Recording.
So, the misunderstanding is there's a pool per you voted in the Republican primary in 2022, and that wasn't what it said. It was until 2022. So you've been terribly mishearing. Oh yeah. The system we use made it with questions was we gave one candidate a hard question. We had to let every candidate respond.
Say hi, I was like,
We've got 35 minutes of juice left. I said we've got 35 minutes of juice
Okay, can people start getting their seats again? We're gonna get rolling. All right, can everybody come on back in, please? Whoever's out there in the hallway, if you can hear my dulcet tones.
Okay.
And we're going to, we have a couple of other candidates that we wanted to give 30 seconds.
And thank you for your time and opportunity to speak to y'all.
Thank you. We'd love to give you all more time, but we are already a little bit over, so we want to get now to our candidates for county judge. The live stream is down. Oh, sorry. Okay. We're going to start with a question like we did for the county commissioners. I'm sorry? We're going to do this one first. Yes, sir.
The live stream is back up.
Please answer by saying yes or no. This race has already become heated. Do you affirm, each one of you, that you will support and not undermine the Democrat who wins your primary, and that you will not support a Republican nominee in the general election?
Yes.
Thank you.
Enthusiastic.
Thank you. We're going to move on now. 2 minutes for each candidate to open an opening statement.
My name is Ruben Becerra, and I have served as your county judge for the past 7 years. I have a proven track record and results, not rhetoric. I authored and led the passage of a countywide resolution affirming due process and constitutional protections, standing firm against ICE overreach and recognizing that when rights are stripped from one group, they're easily stripped from another. I was the only no vote against allowing the NRA in our county weeks after the Uvalde school massacre, the only Democrat on the Commissioner's Court who consistently votes to fund other Democrat county officials and properly pay their employees. I have managed multiple large-scale emergencies, including managing COVID, coordinating responses to wildfires, protecting lives, homes, critical infrastructure. I have overseen numerous emergency operations during major weather events, prioritizing evacuations, road safety, and recovery. I was the only court member that stood against the flock surveillance cameras from the day we were made aware it was being used to surveil our vulnerable communities, including women seeking health care. Being a leader who pushes for change isn't easy. When you challenge the status quo, retaliation doesn't come on my record, it comes through personal attacks and manufactured lies. I don't care. I will keep doing what's right no matter what they throw my way. We need proactive leadership, not reactive politicians who only move when they are pressured into doing the right thing. I believe in our democratic values. I am battle-tested, crisis-proven, and guided by principle, not panic. I don't lead from the sidelines. I lead from the front.
Joe Martin? Yes.
2 minutes.
Okay, sounds good. I don't know how I'm going to follow that, but it's incredible. Appreciate it. My name is Joel Martin. I'm running for Hays County Judge. A lot of you know me just from maybe seeing me on the streets. I do work for Hays County. I'm a reserve deputy with Precinct 2. That's one of our guys back there that I get to work with closely, so appreciate you being here. Biggest thing for me is I come with a lot of experience from large-scale companies, small companies. I own a business. I own several businesses, and what I do is I scale them, and then we continue to grow and get to the point of selling them. A lot of what I have to do, though, is I have to get to a point where basically the budget, everything come together. If they're not together, then it becomes a big problem. So one of the main focuses I have in our businesses is making sure that financial responsibility is there. A lot of my other experience is going to be as a first responder. We have small businesses, of course, and then I also help out a lot of folks start businesses and kind of watch them and guide them through what they're going to do going forward. So I appreciate it.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Michelle Gutierrez-Cohen, and I am the current county commissioner running for county judge now. I am a native Texan, born in Austin and raised in Hays County. I am married with 3 children. We have spent the last 40 years in Hays County. I am 30 years of public and private sector. I've worked at 2 state agencies, the Texas Juvenile Justice Department and the Comptroller's Office. I have a bachelor's degree in business administration with a concentration in finance, an MBA, and a doctorate in organizational leadership, which means, yes, I can tell a good leader from a bad one. I have big hopes for our county. I have a big vision for the county, and it lies in leadership. As the head of the leadership of this county, my vision for the county is rooted in empathy, compromise, and proactive planning. That is what I plan to do as county judge. I am a community advocate. I started a group called Hays Latinos United during the COVID pandemic because I believe that our county was not doing enough to address the marginalized community and the health disparity. So I got out there, got to work with other local leaders, and we provided for our constituency, or our neighbors that needed that help. But that was the catalyst for me to run for county commissioner, because I thought, if I could do this at a ground level, what can I do as a county commissioner? And I got elected winning 61% of that vote. And I have a proven record in my 3 years of many things that I've done as county commissioner. And the recent thing is being able to work with the city of Kyle to have an animal shelter in East Kyle, which is definitely lacking resources all across the east side. Now, our objective is to beat the Republicans in November. And I am the Republicans' worst nightmare. I am a Latina, I am educated, and I am from this county, and I have a proven record. Thank you so much.
so we're going to now start the questions. Commissioner, the Texas legislature continues to whittle away at county and municipal powers. What specific tools will you use to ensure smart growth and to protect our water?
Well, for me, it begins with relationships. We need somebody who is able to foster relationships with our local officials, with our state legislators, and our congressional at the federal level. Like, we all need to work together to come up with a plan and move on that plan. And I think those relationships have been not fostered so far, and we really need to work together. We also need to look at working with our neighboring counties together. What can we do regionally to work together to support everyone? We are sitting in the middle of this mega region. San Antonio and Austin are going to come together and create the next DFW. And all of us, Hayes, everyone around us, all our counties are in the same position. And so we really need to work together and find solutions together instead of working in silos. And I've always believed that in anything that I've looked at, any problem that we've been faced with, is working together and finding a solution.
I'll repeat the question for you, sir. The Texas legislature continues to whittle away at county and municipal powers. What specific tools will you use to ensure smart growth and protect our water?
So I think the biggest thing for this is going to be partnerships. Obviously, like Dr. Cohen had said, partnerships with our cities, partnerships with other counties, really everybody that's on the aquifers. You know, I'm not a water expert, never going to be. I have people that we know that we bring into the county to make sure that they know, and they bring us all the current facts that we need to be able to make educated decisions. I'm not going to sit here and say that I know those educated decisions. That's why we have people that do those things. As far as the water goes, you know, it is a necessity, obviously. But there are, understand that there's investment firms that are investing in water right now. It's a big commodity. It's something that's being traded currently, Texas, everywhere else. It's something that nobody really knows about, but it's out there. So these are the things that we've got to get involved with as a county and get that to stop right away in its tracks. Build the plan, bring in the experts, and just get a better plan put together for the entire county.
This is actually an easier answer than it sounds. We just passed Tuesday in court a feasibility study of the groundwater. We just doubled down on assessing what we have because you will only impact what you measure. Partnerships are great, promise. I've just been reelected to the Conference of Urban Counties, which represents 80% of our state's population. And they just reelected me to be on their policy board. I believe in partnerships, but I won't lay down for the sake of compromise. Hayes County first on this water issue, and so the best way to do that is to understand what's going on, where the straws are deepest, and how they affect our communities. Study it so you can make intelligent policy.
Since you have it, we'll start with you for question number 2. See how randomly I can work sometimes. So, Senate Bill 8 was signed by Governor Greg Abbott on July 15th of 2025. And it mandates that county sheriffs who operate or contract with a jail facility enter into formal agreements with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. What is the status of the Hayes County agreement, and what safeguards for Hayes County residents will you ensure our sheriff includes in this agreement and policies?
This is a tough one. 217G, it's a joke. I've been a police officer for 17 years. I've been every single thing I do with my county, with the county, with the deputies, with everybody, is to protect the rights of everyone. The constitutional rights are very, very basic. 217G, the Senate bill that he passed, is completely unlawful. I'm sorry, it is. Anybody wants to argue, I'll argue all day long. It is taking away the ability to be able to tell people no. The governors sit here and say that we have to mandate, we have to tell the sheriffs that they have to do this. Why? It's our county.
It's our jail. We pay for it. All of us do. So it's frustrating to hear. I don't know what the status is of that 287G. All I know is that it is not in place because we don't have it going, from what I understand. Yet, the biggest thing, all I ask for, is that we push to make sure that we fight back as a county to get it to stop in its tracks.
Thank you. Like to read it again. Senate Bill 8 was signed by Governor Greg Abbott on July 15, 2025. It mandates that county sheriffs who operate or contract a jail facility enter into formal agreements with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. What is the status of Hays County's agreement, and what safeguards for Hays County residents will you ensure our sheriff includes in this agreement and policies?
Our sheriff today is following that roadmap, just so you know. And just know that it's important that you realize, if you don't, that I'm the court member, an elected official, and there are a few that are doing this. We all have the same agency, and I am coming up, standing, tip of the spear, used twice already, and saying, ICE, follow the Constitution in Hays County. So what I will do and continue to do is call them out, and all those people that don't understand what the complaint is, and am I anti-police, I'm like, no. Local law enforcement are our friends and neighbors. State law enforcement are also our friends and neighbors. It's the goons that are being shipped in, staying in the hotels because they don't live here, that are breaking our constitutional foundational policies, and I will do my level best to continue to encourage other elected officials and community members alike to continue to fight for the awareness, because if you do not know, now they can come and kick down your door and not have a warrant. That's gotta stop.
Read the question.
Yes, sir. So I have talked to Sheriff Hippolito about this new law, and he has assured me that he was going to use the least harmful model out there. That gives me, okay, great, he's trying not to, use the worst possible option. But I still think even with the lowest model being used, the most harmful, less harmful model being used, that we still have to push back, because we do need to take a stand. And if that means that we're gonna end up in court over it, then I think that's what we have to do, because none of it is okay. What our community is going through right now is not okay. What our kids are going through right now, I have a 14-year-old daughter at Lehman High School that is predominantly Hispanic, and I can tell you those kids are talking about it. They are afraid to come to school. They're afraid to, their parents to come pick them up in the pickup line and drop them off. It is a real issue in our community that we are dealing with, right? So we need to fight back. We need to, appease to the federal government to stop this. In our state legislatures, we need to ask them to stop this. And it's hard at the county level. It is. And, I really try and work these circles to try to get the other side to see how harmful this is for everyone. And I just think that as a county government, we just need to try and fight back and pick the less harmful options.
Thank you. Mr. Martin, according to public records, you have only voted one time since 2012, and that was in 2020, in the general election. Why have you not taken part in our elections?
Absolutely. So I was raised, a lot of people here. So the first question I had when people asked who I was, I didn't do a very good job. The second question I went through, I did better. The third, wasn't that great. I'm gonna really try to knock this out the park today, okay? So the biggest thing, I have never been taught what politics are. I've never been taught about parties. I never knew about it. 2012 is the first time I did vote in 2016. 2016 was for Trump, and I did vote for Trump. It was the promise. It was the show that was put on, the smoke show, where everything is going to be great. Within 3 months, my decision was so deeply regretted because I completely saw that every single principle, moral value that I have was gone against. This man's destroyed our country. We have to get it back. The only way we can do it is by fighting harder. So that is the reason why I just didn't have the education of what politics were and sides and et cetera.
Let's go to Dr. Cohen. You've been at the center of a procurement issue where one of your family members was employed by a firm that was qualified to be awarded county contracts. That same firm donated at least $5,000 to your campaign. What safeguards should have been in place, or will you now ensure are put in place to avoid any such appearances of conflict of interest?
Thank you, Jeff, for that question. So when I got on court, the county did not have a procurement department, which coming from a procurement background, I just saw that as crazy. How could a county as large as us not have a procurement department? So in my first year as a commissioner, I created that department because I could see the gaps in the contract management of our county and that we were really not providing better oversight over that. Now, this issue that came up with this procurement, my purchasing director asked me, Commissioner, can you do the scoring? And I'm like, sure, I can score because I'm a road commissioner, that is my job. My stepfather works at a firm that is not even in that same division that this work is being done. This firm has been working with the county long before I came on as commissioner and long before my dad has been on that firm as well. So what happened at the end is audit had a problem with that. And then the procurement director made a mistake in the scoring, which changed some of the scores where some of the firms fell off. And that's when the real problem began, is that we had to do the procurement piece over again, but I always recused myself from every contract related to that firm since I've been on court. I did ask our legal department about that decision, and they said, you didn't have to, Commissioner, but maybe you should for optics. So I did. So I've always recused myself from every one of those contracts.
Okay, thank you. Judge Becerra, your opponent has made a number of attacks against you, including claims of being evasive about tax liens. How do you respond to these accusations?
Well, that's great. Like many people that were up here earlier, I have spent a lifetime, married 33 years, grateful soul. We have 2 sons. One is here at the front, 30 years old, 2 sons, 30 years old. And we have raised our family through small business. And we're so grateful that we have small businesses that have been in motion for many years. My wife told me on the way, as end of year tax time comes, she's saying, every month we're paying over $30,000 a month in taxes. If I owe taxes, I pay them. That's the best summary I can give you. And for someone that's been in procurement for so many years, and then creates a procurement department, and then forgets to recuse herself, that's weird.
Thank you. Do we have a question from the audience?
Okay, this is for both of you. In 2024, oh, I'm sorry, my apologies. In 2024, we saw an estimated 5,000 Democrats cross over to vote for a Republican sheriff, losing that seat. Why are you the best candidate to carry our party's values and prevent a similar outcome from happening in the future?
Let's start down here.
So that is true. 5,000 Democrats voted for a Republican sheriff. Another 4,000 decided not to vote in that election. So that is almost 10,000 votes that the Democrats lost. Now, it's no big secret who that office was tied to, Judge Becerra's office. And it is my belief that the reason that we lost that sheriff race is because of the unpopularity of that office. And so that's why we cannot make that risk in November. Like, we need to put the best candidate forward to face the Republican in November. And I believe that I am the best candidate to face the Republican in November.
I'm gonna need the question again.
Nothing wrong with that. Lost. In 2024, we saw an estimated 5,000 Democrats cross over to vote for a Republican sheriff, losing that seat. Why are you the best candidate to carry our party's values and prevent a similar outcome from happening in the future?
I'm living, breathing proof of everything when it comes to the law enforcement side of things. For 17 years I did this. I get to advocate, I get to tell folks, I get to counsel them and show them how we pick a sheriff, how we pick somebody that is going to represent our county. The other thing is, we need good candidates. We need people to actually fill out the paperwork. This is my first campaign. This is my first forum. I know it's going rough, but it doesn't matter because I'm here. I filled out the paperwork, right? I'm going to sit here and do everything I can to get the next one. I will get the next one. I'll nail it, don't worry. But going back to it, look, I mean, you have to fight for it, and you have to get people's beliefs out there. I've had so many conversations with a lot of Republicans who are diehard Republicans. I'm going to vote for you because you are the real deal. You are the one that actually tells it like it is, transparent, accountable. I try every single time to do it right the first time. If I don't do it, we circle around, we do it again. That's the best way to be able to lead. That's the way to be able to do things. That's what we have to do is bring a candidate that we can show, we can lead all the way.
Same question, my answer. I happen to know that some of the people that run with the commissioner actually publicly campaigned for and voted happily, joyfully for the Republican ticket. So the thing I say is, I have won 4 countywide races. This is my 5th countywide race. I am no chicken. I am no coward. I will not bow. I will not yield. I support the platform, period. I have a track record. I am the luckiest guy alive because now I am an incumbent. I can simply say, look at what I've done. You trusted me with your vote 4 times. And I delivered. I have the receipts. I run the court of record. I have everything I say, thanks to Dr. Cardenas. I have everything I write, everything I say, every contract I sign, completely documented in this court of record, which is our local government. I am 100% proud to have been your Democrat time and time again. And those that are most involved, the foot soldier, the boots on the ground. Some of you are here right now. They're on my side. There's a reason for that. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being good Democrats. Oh, last touch. On my first date, I took Monica, my wife, to meet Al Gore. I think that's cool.
Let's give this group a great hand.
Let's give a hand. Thank you. Well, people, that wraps up all of the official business for tonight. I think we have a couple of comments.
Yes, just one quick announcement. First, a round of applause for Jeff Kaufman. He stood for the great job. And bear with us just for 2 more minutes. First, we've got very brief announcements from first CJ Satina, if you come up real quick. And Heather Idala, you're next, so might as well.
Howdy folks, I won't take too long, but on January 31st at the San Marcos Public Library at 1 p.m. Hays County Young Democrats will be hosting our own candidate forum. If you are a candidate that's interested in seeking our endorsement, please come see me. Even if you're not a Young Democrat and you're running on a Democrat ticket, you're more than welcome to come speak. You just won't be able to vote. and the endorsements. And just a reminder on that, duals renewal to be a membership for Hays County Young Democrats does expire at the end of the month. You do need to be at least been a member for the past 60 days to vote in the endorsement. If you have any questions, come see me afterwards. December 31st at 1 p.m. at San Marcos Library. January 31st, my bad.
All right, really quick, my name is Heather Idella. I'm a KBAD member, I'm a Kyle citizen, and I am the executive director of Bobcat Pride Scholarship Fund. I do a ton of queer activism, and my intersectionality is in our politics right now. So on February 10th at Texas State, we're going to have a queer in politics panel. A number of our panelists are in this room, if you want to raise your hand. And it's going to be an opportunity for Texas State students to learn about getting involved in politics, getting registered to vote, and talking about our primaries, because they don't really understand why the primaries are important. Not all Texas State students, but in general, I've been having conversations with our students. They're like, we don't really get it. I'm like, this is why it's important. The other one is we're going to be doing Drag Out the Vote. It Ain't No Laughing Matter. It's a combination of BPSF and San Marcos Queer Council, combining two of our historical events. Kautama Hall has donated the hall's use to us, which is huge when it comes to intersectionality, September 24th. So it's going to start coming out. We need all hands. Whatever skill, talent you have, we're going to need it. That venue holds 800 people. And my goal is to make sure that our queer community, our Latino, our Black, our young community, our elders are all coming together to understand why the midterms are so desperately important. It's drag, it's comedy, it's variety. We're going to have politicians talking about why the issues in the midterm elections are important. I want to break down barriers when it comes to childcare, when it comes to transportation, of knowing where your polling location is, so that our citizens know we've done everything we can to get them to the polls so that their voice counts. Because we've seen in Kyle that 41 votes made the difference in our local elections. And so if people think their vote doesn't matter, it's bullshit right now. Our lives are on the line. So I put business cards out on the table. They're all the rainbowy ones, because that's what we are. We're queer and rainbowy. Follow us on socials. We're going to be pushing out events. We're going to be asking for help. We do all of this grassroots. We don't really, okay, drag out the vote, we want money. Queer in politics, we're looking for food donations. We're looking for people to come and register voters. It's just grassroots. So thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. Okay, two very quick announcements and then the benediction. So first announcement is the endorsement votes will go out by email tonight about 10 o'clock, and they'll be open for just a few days, right? A week. They'll be open for a week. So be watching for those, be responsive to those. Two, I feel compelled to do this. We're an organization based on facts. There was a misunderstanding with one candidate earlier. Our question was, you voted in the Republican primaries until 2022. He misheard that and thought that we are saying that he voted in 2022 in the Republican Party. I don't know if that matters to any of you in terms of making up your minds, but it does matter to be factual and correct and accurate all the time. So I wanted to clarify that. But again, I want another round of applause for Jeff for standing up today. And finally, the benediction. So I led with intensity. I'm going to leave with levity, and I'll say this. Okay, we can become the most important county politically for the Democrats in this state. The path is there. It's a matter of getting out as many votes as possible. It's a matter of the best people to do that are these candidates and you supporting them. So please make tonight not just about who you want to vote for, but who you could support, who you could help. That's how you're going to make the difference. I feel, and I'm talking fast, I feel all of these eyes telling me to hurry up, so I'm doing my best. Okay, here's how I feel. I feel like we're about to go on the field to kick the game-winning kick at the Super Bowl. That's the feeling I have right now. I can't do it, like, you know, but we can. I mean, we can do it together, and it starts with that. Support your candidates, support your friends, get them out to vote, and finally, one round of applause for the candidates that were here and stayed here for the rest of the day. Thank you all.